The second video that has to do with our unit on growth deals with the age of Andrew Jackson. And the age of Jackson starts with his first attempt to be elected in 1824. As you can see here, Andrew Jackson won the popular votes in that election. However, no candidate had a majority of the electoral votes, so in that situation it goes to the House of Representatives. And that's where the idea of a corrupt bargain was introduced by Andrew Jackson's supporters. What happened was Henry Clay finished fourth in voting. Henry Clay convinced the House of Representatives to vote for John Quincy Adams. Adams won the election, and Henry Clay was elected or was nominated as Secretary of the State. Now, the corrupt bargain, plus the fact that John Quincy Adams was the son of a former president, kind of put a bad taste in the mouth of Andrew Jackson's supporters. Even though he had planned to build more roads, bridges, and canals and to continue the American system, Congress was controlled by supporters of Andrew Jackson, and so they spent the 4 years of John Quincy Adams' presidency stopping all of his positive legislation to expand the roads and bridges and canals in the United States. Andrew Jackson and his supporters also spent those 4 years getting ready for the election of 1828, which saw a rematch of Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams. The way that the president was elected changed from an old-style system of using a caucus, where a small group of people chose the candidates, to statewide national nominating conventions. Now, Andrew Jackson was considered the people's president because he was a war hero, because he was one of the common man, and he was also going to be the first president elected from a western state. So when it came time for Andrew Jackson's inauguration, thousands of people traveled from all over to see him take the oath of office and to celebrate his victory. Webster, a member of Congress, in response to the crowd said, "I've never seen such a crowd before. Persons have come 500 miles to see General Jackson, and they really seem to think that the country has been rescued from some dreadful danger." Now, this is known today as Jacksonian democracy, the idea that voting changed from the best people to including all people. And by all people at that time, we meant all white men were extended voting rights. What did Andrew Jackson's supporters believe in? Well, a strict construction, which therefore meant that they believed that the Bank of the United States was unconstitutional because it was not mentioned within the document itself. They also believed in laissez-faire, the idea that government should not interfere with business that was popular during Jefferson's term. Andrew Jackson introduced the idea of the spoils system, that he would reward political supporters with political jobs. And he also liked the idea of westward expansion, which appealed to people who lived on the western frontier. Now, some of the negative problems that Andrew Jackson had to deal with during his presidency was the idea of nullification, or states canceling laws. Andrew Jackson is also responsible for the removal of the major Indian tribes to the Indian Territory. These actions led some people to refer to him as King Andrew. As a matter of fact, the National Republicans created a party called the Whig Party in defiance of him. What followed Andrew Jackson was what I like to call the parade of presidents. You had Martin Van Buren, William Henry Harrison, then John Tyler, and finally James K. Polk, one-term presidents that followed very quickly in succession, all of them trying to continue on the ideas of Andrew Jackson and his presidency appealing to the common man. Now, if you're interested in looking at a more detailed version of this PowerPoint, it is available on my website under Notes. But now what you need to do is you need to go into Edmodo and take the quiz. This needs to be done by February 5th.